Representative Sexton joining us in our meeting, and I would invite him to come up and say a few words.
Good evening and thank you, everybody. I apologize, it's a little late. We've got some Zoom calls, literally had a very tragic weekend, and it's hitting us all differently. There will be a candlelight vigil service up at the Capitol tomorrow. It's not well publicized, but I'm sure there'll be thousands of people up there. So my wife and I will be traveling after that. Just wanted to always be available to everybody. I think you all have my phone numbers, and you can certainly keep that on speed dial because I'm always available to everybody. Just wanted to give you kind of a summary. We were facing a $6 billion deficit going into session. You guys came up, I say guys, correct, I really just want to say the entire team came up, did a fantastic presentation on one of the committees I'm on, that's capital investment, also known as bonding, and we didn't quite get success on that, and I will tell you that no municipality got any direct money. So there was only $700 million, there was about $4 billion in asks. Most of that was actually water, and I know we've got some money for water, wastewater here that occurred in the previous session. Hopefully that's all going well, no change orders, things like that. Excuse me, so that we have to go back for more, but it's a gigantic problem, ginormous problem within the state of Minnesota. So we do have some money for water, both sewage and for drinking water in the budget of about $46 million for different communities that they will have to apply for that through the regular application process. So we'll be looking at funding that. Of course, our colleges, quite frankly, we're looking at many of our colleges, the U of M, as well as the MSU system, quite frankly, overbuilt right now. So roofs and different things like that are a huge issue. So that was about $60 million each to both the U of M and also the MSU colleges throughout the state. So we're trying to help correct those, but actually they came back later in session and said, as we look at things, as we reduce programs and consolidate, we're really looking at the municipal side of about $25 million more just to demolish excess capacity because it's just too expensive to maintain. So those are some things we'll be looking at next year. We hope overall to have about $1.1 billion that will be available in bonding next year. So we have more projects that we can fund. So I realize that's very important. Anything on the bonding, and I can just kind of touch on some other things there. So I know it's very important to all of our communities here. Okay, one of the things that we fight very hard for in Greater Minnesota is to make sure that we fund LGA for our smaller communities, counties, and there was a spirit that because we were having challenges with the human services side of the budget, they took the largest cut since they're one of the biggest budgets within the state budget, but we were not passing anything down to the counties. So that was a threat to about 15%, which would fund all of our property taxes, and that's not good. So we were able to find and maneuver money around, look at programs that were more successful, to continue to fund those, but it's going to be equally a challenging fight over the next biennium after this. So we are making the budget, but and then we get some regular reports about once a quarter and what the regular intakes are as far as tax dollars to make sure that we're keeping up with everything with inflation and everything else. So far, the state's forecasts are pretty close to what we would expect. So that's good because we don't need to be going back next year making amendments to cut even more, which is very difficult. So obviously we want to keep your tax dollars in your pockets. So there's no new income taxes, no new really taxes across the board. Property taxes set by the counties, but we still want to fund our schools. We still want to fund human services. We did get the Karma program approved, which is county-based health care, which the county is very interested in, and a big push from the county commissioners on that across the entire state. So that will give more flexibility in the future. Anything else?
Any questions?
If someone has something privately that they want to bring up publicly, give me a call. If I don't know the answer, answer, I will get back to you later.
Just a comment. Thanks for your work on our behalf.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what I signed up for, so thank you for all your support. I love when you all come up to the Capitol, and I guess I've welcome Jenna up here shortly. Chris kind of surprised me 3 days after we got together, but that's okay. Enjoy. So, anything else? I love being here, love supporting Owatonna. Getting over here as often as I can. I'll be over in a tour in Mankato tomorrow with Region 9. But obviously, we're always looking at the calendar, so if there's something coming up that you haven't seen yet, maybe I missed it, but I'd love to know about it. So, thank you.
I would just echo Mr. Volke's comments. We are very fortunate to have you and Mr. Jasinski representing us. We don't ask a lot out of the state, but when we do, you really fight for us.
Absolutely.
And I know John, he let us know early on that his number one this year was a water tower in Waseca.
Right.
He was very upfront, told us that, and we appreciated that. And
Yeah.
so, we appreciate all your efforts, and we're very fortunate to have both of you out there for us.
Thanks so much. Yeah, Waseca didn't get any direct funding either, no communities did. If you do read the bill, you'll see some skate parks. That was not in this year's bonding bill, it's just re-up from money that wasn't spent before, so we had to put it in this year's budget. But it's just moving money that would have expired. So, we on the GOP side are not gonna fund things like that, we have people that don't have clean water. So, thanks so much. Always a pleasure to be here.
Start off the public comments. Please limit your comments to 2 minutes. Please approach the microphone, sign in, and state your name and address for the record after being acknowledged by the Council President. Speakers will be limited to 2 minutes to deliver their comments. Council Vice President Voss will be timing and hold up a hand after 1 minute and 45 seconds to notify the speaker that they have 15 seconds to complete their comment. Those speaking are asked to conduct themselves in a respectful manner as they deliver their comments. Audience members are asked to refrain from reacting to comments. City Council will not respond directly to comments in this venue or take immediate action in response to them. With that, I will open up the public comment.
Colin Whalen, 2435 Briarwood Place. Good evening, council members, mayor, and others in the room.
Good evening.
I would like to bring awareness to a recent accident that occurred on West Bridge Street about 3 weeks ago. As you know, many in the community have expressed concern about the East Side Corridor project, in particular the close proximity of the 29th Avenue route to our neighborhoods. Any talk of safety from our county officials is not focused on the security and safety of the people living in the homes near the route, rather their definition of a safe road as it relates to the mechanical nature of a roadway. Example being flat, having proper signage installation of roundabouts. Back to the recent car accident. I'm just gonna hold up this photo so we can kind of see what we're talking about here. So you can see there's a vehicle kind of right on the front steps of a home there, so back to this recent accident, a Jeep traveling on Bridge Street was hit by another vehicle, which caused the Jeep to jump the curb, travel through the front yard, and hit the homeowner's front steps. As you can see in the picture, the Jeep literally took out the front steps and narrowly missed crashing through the front of the home. Thankfully, no one was hurt that day, only property. The front of this house is approximately 25 foot from the roadway. Some of the homes along the proposed East Side Corridor route on 29th are a mere 17 feet from the right of way. Keep in mind that planning discussions on the East Side Corridor have also stated likely speeds of 50 to 55 versus the much lower speed limit on the Bridge Street route that we're looking at here of 30 miles per hour. I shudder to think of any vehicle or heavy truck leaving the East Side Corridor route traveling 50 miles an hour and sliding or rolling a mere 20 feet or so, then crash into an occupied home or worse, hit children and or adults. It enjoying the outdoors in their backyard. I invite you to take a look at this recent accident and implore you to take that into consideration when making any decisions involving the East Side Corridor. Thank you.
Good evening, council members. Matt Simon, 2519 Stony Creek Drive.
Good evening.
Evening. Here to talk also about the East Side Corridor, which is that controversial roadway just mentioned by Colin. $30 million taxpayer funds. And recently got the attention of AAL-TV out of Rochester, who came and interviewed the county engineer, Paul Spanos, about the project. Who you'll hear in this clip cites some concerns about truck traffic, official truck traffic on a couple of streets here in town, Shady and Crestview.
That's Paul Spanos. He's the Steele County engineer who's in charge of the East Side Corridor project. In our conversation about the construction, he tells me that traffic is just becoming too congested downtown.
We need to be able to get that traffic out of those streets. We got truck traffic on Shady Avenue or Crestview, and it's not roads that are not designed for through traffic and truck traffic.
All right, so he says truck traffic's been, they've got truck traffic on Crestview and Shady. And so we submitted a request for documentation, data request to the county. County attorney responds, we do not have any such documentation related to this. As such, the request will be closed, and then cites information from the county engineer saying, Paul Swanholt's outgoing engineer, who's now gone, says, all we have is staff recollection of numerous phone calls or complaints over the years, and comments received from the public during the East Side Corridor public meetings. Also, I reviewed the state traffic counts. They don't show anything on the website within the mapping application. So shoddy information at best, or lack of information about this supposed truck traffic. I bring this up only to show that I think we need a little bit more than just called in complaints and things like that to show for date on a $30 million project. And this road, 55 miles an hour, or thereabouts, 17 foot from homes, it's just crazy. We need your support on this. Thank you.
Good evening, Melissa Zimmerman, 2525 Stony Creek Drive.
Good evening.
At the last council meeting, the council president referenced the KAL news story. One of her residents, myself included, spoke about the safety concerns regarding the East Side Corridor. Rather than engage in what was said, he used the clip to imply police involvement might be necessary. That feels like an attempt to discourage public input, and it sends the wrong message to residents who are trying to engage in good faith. Or maybe that was the intention. Speaking to the news is not a crime. It's a protected constitutional right. When local officials respond to that right with intimidation or references to law enforcement, it's an overreach and a misuse of power. It creates an environment where people feel pressured to stay silent, and that's not how open government is supposed to work. We spoke up because we live here, because our families live here, and because silence would be more dangerous than honesty. What are we talking about? The real safety concerns, like Colin addressed with the Bridge Street accident where a car barreled off the road and into a front porch on a slower speed road. And 7 other similar accidents last year. And yet we're being told 17 feet is enough, even when it takes over 300 feet to stop a car, more for a semi. Matt spoke about how some project core justifications like removing truck traffic are being made without actual supporting studies or evidence. When residents raise safety concerns or question decisions made on faulty or misleading data, we just don't deserve retaliation. We deserve a seat at the table. And when decisions are made, we expect accurate, unbiased data to support them. We're not going away. We're going to continue to get louder because our safety and our voices matter. The public is watching. It's not too late to do the right thing.
supports the annual Field Day event. From the beginning in the 1930s, as an event to test field day preparations and emergency communications abilities of the amateur radio community. Field Day has evolved into the largest on-air operation during the year. In 2022, submitted almost 5,000 plus groups and individuals across the U.S. and Canada participated. Field Day is officially an operating event, not a contest. The purpose remains today, as it did in the beginning, to demonstrate the communications ability of the amateur radio community in simulated emergency situations. Groups across the continent use Field Day as a literal show and tell exhibition. Amateur radio brings together its resources to show officials in government and various agencies what amateur radio can do. We will be setting up at the McKinley School grounds Saturday, June 28th at 1 o'clock p.m. until Sunday, 1 o'clock p.m. I'm inviting you to stop by and see what we do, and if you wish, you can give it a try, make a contact on the radio. We do get credit for any visitors, especially public officials. So if you think you might have an interest in learning more, we do hold a class every spring where the instructors will teach you everything you need to know to pass the test to become a ham. Only people with a federal license are allowed to have a license to be have to talk. And please stop by and say hi for us.
Thank you.
Jones, 995 Ridge Road. Good evening. Good evening. When I started my research on the archery hunt 38 months ago, I always felt like I was on the outside looking in. It appeared very dangerous and didn't make sense. You can see from my walking up here the possibility of me hunting and with MS. That's now gone. As someone who's never been on an archery hunt, the proficiency test leaves me a little confused. This is not DNR mandated. This is something extra that's done by Park and Rec. Meaning that Park and Rec is taking the responsibility for the proficiency of the hunters, not the DNR. Now, when the rules say hunters must hunt off the ground, why does the hunter's proficiency test have to shoot at targets 20 yards away while standing on the ground and not actually hunt 17 feet in the air standing on a small perch? They're not supposed to hunt from the ground. That's straight from the rules. Like my example of Nate hiring a driver with no winter experience in the last meeting, this is another instance of the testing not quite matching the conditions. Please be reminded, I am not anti-hunting, and I have no reason to believe that these guys are not good shots in their proficiency tests. However, the conditions of the proficiency test of an outsider do not agree to match the conditions of hunting in an elevated tree stand. Park and Rec's proficiency tests appear far easier. Now, it makes sense to me that the proficiency test should match the actual hunting conditions. It should be given in the dark, in the cold, with heavy gear and gloves, as well as 15 feet in the air on a small perch, not standing on the ground in broad daylight in a day in September. While you're at it, have them stand there freezing for 4 hours before they actually take their first shot and see if they hit the puppy place. Now, please give some thought, and while you're at it, please help save a life and get this out of Mineral Springs, and at least immediately change the hunting times this fall at Mineral Springs so you are not hunting in the dark. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak?
Good evening, Mayor, Council, everyone. I'm Brandon Flores. I'm here on behalf this year, we're changing gears and want to stay more local. So we're actually splitting the funds from this event to two local organizations, Ride for Heroes and Operation 230. They're both organizations that serve the veterans of Steele County. And it's really cool to be able to keep the money local here that we raise. So I just want to thank you for approving the event. That's all I got.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for posting. Anyone else? Anyone else? I would look for council now. First up tonight is Mr. McCann.
Got nothing.
Mr. Spenby. Mr. Voss.
Oh, I would just mention that this morning I was able to take my 5-year-old grandson over by my old business and watch the big machines knocking the old hotel down. And it was kind of fun and looking forward to getting that whole area cleaned up. It should be a nice project.
Mr. Dodson.
Yeah.
Mr. Burbank.
Getting hard at, he can supervise, well,
He'd like that.
nothing more yet.
Okay. Mr. Bulkey.
Nothing to add.
Mr. Mayor.
I had the pleasure of spending the day in Alexandria today watching some of our high school's finest athletes participate in the largest trap shooting tournament in the world. Now, for those of you who don't know, clay target shooting is the largest, very quietly, the largest high school sport in the state with over 12,000 kids participating. There are 9 classes. There's so many kids shooting that each class has to have their own day. And Owatonna is in the largest class, so they were in the final day of shooting today. And I want to give a shout out to Coach Kingland and all of his, I think 26 assistant coaches, none of whom are paid. They volunteer their time. And the 90 kids that participated on the team this year, 50 of whom optionally went to Alexandria to shoot today. They're a fantastic group of kids. It gives kids, I think, that under normal circumstances aren't pulled into any of the regular sports, a chance to be a part of a team and feel like they're a part of something. So again, just congratulate Coach Kingland and the athletes and the coaches and the parents on another great season. It was a great way to end it.
Thank you. Well said. Ms. Boosie, we are down to 3 meetings.
Yes, we are. I have nothing to add.
Okay. First, welcome tonight to Trish. She's here tonight getting some training. She's new to most of the people, but to us, she's been around quite a few years and we appreciate her. 14 days ago, I made a comment about property on private property. It's memorialized on video. People have had 14 days to watch that video. It's about 18 seconds long. 18 seconds. No data request, no nothing. You're entitled to your own opinion, not your own facts. I would encourage people to watch that video. The comment I had was just like property that abuts parks. If it infringes on park property, we send the police, we get it moved back on their property. That's all that was stated, and it's memorialized. Enough said. With no other business before us tonight, I'd look for a motion to adjourn. Motion by Brent to adjourn, do I have a second? I'm sorry, Nate. And a second by Dan. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries, we are adjourned.